Hi, my name is Jenny and I've been living in New York for 5 years, and I recently adopted a Greyhound 6 months ago. Her name is Daphne and she's right here and she's 3 years old. She's a beautiful blue brindle. So I really want to share with you 3 things that I think are really important that will really help you before you get your hound. And those are: educate yourself, where to get your Greyhound, and what to prepare. Okay, so first of all, I think it's really helpful to educate yourself. Before I got her, I had actually never had a dog in my life, so it was really important for me to reach out and do a lot of research on the web on what kind of dog a Greyhound is and how I need to prepare myself. And really every breed is so different and so unique, and the Greyhound experience is also really unique. They have been working dogs their whole life, and excuse her grooming herself, she's very busy. They've been working dogs their whole life, and Daphne was racing just 1 month prior to me getting her. So she had actually never lived as a pet in her life. She had never lived without other Greyhounds in the home, and basically she was probably living with maybe tens or hundreds of Greyhounds in a really large kennel down in Florida. So coming to me was a really new experience for her, and I needed to learn a lot about her too. So what I really recommend, and that a lot of Greyhound adoption agencies would recommend, is for you to read Greyhounds for Dummies. So this book right here has been so helpful for me. And I read every word in every page, and I'm not saying that you need to read every word in every page, but it's really been helpful, and it's super cheap. You can go to Amazon, you can find a used version. That's what I did. I think it was definitely less than $20, and it just helped me with all the basics of what kind of dogs Greyhounds are, how much food do they eat, how much exercise do they need, how many hours a day do they sleep, and just the weird kind of perks about Greyhounds that you need to know because of the breed, because of their history, and also because of their racing life. So for example, when I first got Daphne, she kind of just would walk into glass. She thought it was air. So glass was something that was new to her. Thing was, she would sleep a lot, and that's perfectly normal. Some other breed of dogs, they might not sleep as much as her, because for her, she sleeps basically like 18 hours a day or more, like full on sleeping. In fact, this is her nap time, but because I'm recording this video, she's kind of interested in what's going on. She thinks we might go outside, which is not the case. Greyhounds also have a very different physiology. They have a different blood count to other dogs. They also have different bodies compared to other dogs. As you can see, she has a very long body. She's also very skinny, but this is actually a healthy weight for her. It's healthy to see the last 2 ribs of a Greyhound, as well as the hind little bones up here. And even though she's a big dog, her features are really small. So her face is super narrow, and that means she needs a special collar called a martingale collar. And I'm going into extra detail, but I just wanted to throw out an example out there of how Greyhounds are pretty unique dogs. That's why you need to educate yourself about what kind of breed they are. If you don't like reading and you prefer listening or videos or podcasts, go ahead. There is a fantastic podcast that is literally called About Greyhounds, and I'll provide the link below, and it's run by a really sweet couple from Greyhound Friends of New Jersey, and they will tell you everything.
Housebreaking to separation anxiety, sleeping, vacation, illnesses, fire.
It's the whole shebang. They've had Greyhounds for decades, and they've had so many of them, so that's super helpful. And I would say the third thing you can do to educate yourself is really just follow a bunch of Greyhounds on Instagram. You can follow Daphne, and now you can see how people are actually living with these hounds and how they operate on a day-to-day basis, the weird things they do, the crazy things they do, the really boring things, or just what it is to live and have a Greyhound as a pet. So the second thing is, where do you get your Greyhound? where are you meant to go? You know what? The good news is you don't need to go to the racetrack. There is no way you're going to just go to a racetrack, beg for a greyhound and get one. Okay, that was pretty stupid. But basically, if you just Google greyhound adoption in your area, some things are going to pop up. But for me, I'm in the tri-state area, so New York, Connecticut, upstate New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Generally in that area, I would recommend where I got Daphne from, which was Forever Home Greyhounds. They are so quick and they always have dogs. Basically, they're going to interview you either on the phone. That's what happened to me during the coronavirus pandemic. Otherwise, they might actually be open to coming into your home and doing a house inspection. Okay, so the third thing is you need to go out there and get your goods. So there's a bunch of stuff that you'll need to buy right before you get your dog. And you do this once you get in touch with the adoption agency and you're about to be matched with a hound, or you've already gotten matched and you've made your decision. Basically, the first and most important thing is you need to get food for your dog. Sometimes the adoption agency might give you some food, but most of the time they won't. So do your research, and it's just going to be trial and error. They might like it, they might not like it. Usually dogs, greyhounds, will eat anything. They're not super picky. I mean, mine isn't. But I did some research, I looked at some Instagram greyhounds that I was following, and I asked their moms or dads, like, hey, what do you feed your greyhound? What has worked for you? And for me, I feed her the Purina Pro Plan Sensitive Skin and Stomach. It's a salmon and rice formula. And also do your research on grain-free versus grain dog food. And for me, after the research that I've personally done, I feel good about feeding her grain foods. Rice is fine, and she is doing very well with it. So get your dog food, order it, go to Chewy, Petco, or whatever your local pet store is, so get your food. Secondly, get your bowls. Get your bowls for your dog, but also make sure that you have raised feeders. So you can just get whatever raised feeders you want based on your interior design aesthetic or the cost. Don't forget this. Get as many poop bags as you can, because you go through them faster than you would ever think. I actually buy mine in bulk in, I think, Chewy, and it's like a 720 count. So there's 720 bags, not rolls. Everybody calm down. So I got that for her, and we've already used an entire box in our 6-month mark. So I just ordered my second. So that's another really important thing. So get this. This is an enzyme-based cleaner. And basically, if the dog has an accident inside your house on a rug and it's either pee or poop or vomit, all three of those things have happened to me, but otherwise they are totally housebroken. They know not to go inside their crate or inside their house. Speaking of crate, that is another thing that you need. You need a 48-inch by 30-inch crate, I believe. I will double check that and I'll put that in the description below. You really need that because they are used to sleeping in crates. That is their safe space, and likely when they first come into your apartment, they might not feel safe sleeping out in the open or in the living room or in your room or whatever it is. But it's really trial and error. I'm going to make a separate video about your first night with your greyhound or your new adopted dog, because for me, that was the biggest challenge that I ever had to deal with her in my 6 months of having her. So that's another thing. Even though you may not have named your dog yet, I think you need to start thinking about the name, just because a pet tag is super, super important. You need their name on it, you need your contact information, because you just don't know when. Another thing is, it's really useful if you get a first aid kit for your dog. I don't have a full-on like 100 items first aid kit. I would say I have maybe like 7 items in there, but what I find is greyhounds have really thin skin and they only have that one coat, so they get scratches and scrapes and abrasions really, really easily. She's also had her paws peeling and things like that, and I would really recommend this spray. It's called Vetericin, and there is a antimicrobial hydrogel. There's also a spray, and I have both of them, and basically it's so easy. This is super important. This is a bandage for dogs, and basically it's like a self-adhesive. So once you unravel it, it's dry on you, but when you stick it onto the band-aid, it just sticks like magic. The other thing is, for a first-time dog owner, this was totally new to me, but they need these monthly flea and tick prevention as well as heartworm prevention. So you need to go and find a vet. So before you get your dog, or kind of close to the date of getting your dog or after the fact, try and find a vet in your area. Maximum 30-minute walk, I would say that's a little bit much if we think about emergency situations. So find a vet. This is a Miller's Forge nail clipper. It is probably the best one out there. I read so many reviews and I watched so many YouTube videos on nail clipping for big dogs. This has been really important. So what I really use is this electric Dremel nail grinder, and I bought it online. I will put the link in the description below. But this is really, really useful. It's really useful when I just need to grind her nails a little bit, not a lot, and it's just for maintenance. So here are your 3 takeaways. Educate yourself. Get into Instagram, follow those Greyhounds, read the book, get the podcast, listen to it. The second thing is, you need to know where to get your Greyhound, get connected with your local or regional Greyhound adoption groups. The third thing is, get ready with all your stuff, all the goods. Please subscribe if you like this video, if this was useful for you. I hope it really was. So until next time, be well.